Alrighty guys, so we are going to start again by using today the cream. Okay, so whichever color you like, but I'm going to be using our cream, and remember we count from the corners in. In actual fact, you may be able to find your center a lot easier now because that is your center stitch. I'll still count from the corners in, but I just wanted you to know that when you've done your big cluster over your, that's very far away. Let me try that again. When you've done that big cluster over your grey and your white from the rows before, that will be your center. However, we're still going to count it in. So there's your corners. There's your corners, yes. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and there's your big cluster set that I told you about right there in the middle. So that big cluster set, that is actually your center. Okay, but still count them in if you're new to crochet. Okay, so now we go 1, 2, and 3, as you would any other round of our peak rounds, and grab your cream, pulling your loop through, and off you go. Doing firstly your chain 1. Then in the same space you're doing a single crochet. Pop that thread at the back and start with your corner right there. And you know how to do your corner? That's a double cluster set with chain 2 in the middle. So 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. And from there we are counting back 3. So you go 1, remember we're using that first double crochet, 1, 2, and 3 in there with a slip stitch to join. Okay, now chaining 1 and 2, and then we're counting back 3 again. The chain counts as 1, 2, and 3 with a single crochet in that third stitch there. All right, turning your work. Now, just so you know, this is how I've been working because it's getting too big and it falls down off the table. So I'm going to turn my work and roll it back up again. You don't have to worry about doing that because you wouldn't work this close to the table, but yours truly is. So I have to roll it up. Whoops. And start again. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right, let's get a bit more closer even. How's that? All right, so your double crochet will not be going in that stitch there. It jumps straight into that space where your double cluster set is, just before your double cluster set. So you're doing your normal double crochet in there, 1, and then 2. All right, chain 1. So what you had is your chain 2 as 1 double crochet, and then you had your 2 double crochets to make up for your 3, and then you jump into your corner with your double cluster set, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Easy, easy. 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. And again, you've got that space before your next stitch. You've got to put 3 double crochets in there. Yours truly is going to be crocheting over the tail. Again, not necessary. It's something I do. And there you go. 1, 2, and 3. Crocheting over your tail, chain 1, and that space is crocheted into. Now, you count back 3 again. Now you are in the last double crochet here. So you're counting your chain as 1, and then your first stitch is 2, and your second stitch is 3 with a slip stitch, like so. All right, now you're chaining 1 and 2, and you are skipping your first double crochet, your chain, and your next double crochet, you're putting your single crochet in there. So that's your third stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Chaining, oh no, we're not doing chaining 1 and 2. I do apologize. We're turning our work again. Hello. Sorry, guys. Wait until it gets even bigger. It's going to be so hard to turn. All right, here we go. So what we're doing is that space we are skipping and we're popping a double crochet in there. 1 and 2, chain 1, and then you're jumping straight into your next space. Easy, easy. I kind of think you're getting the picture with this particular blanket now, yeah? And then you're going into your next with your, don't forget to chain 1 by the way, when you're coming in and out of your spaces. Double cluster set here, except now we have to chain 1 and 2, and then your 3 double crochets. Again, 2 and 3. Chain 1, 1 cluster set in your next space, 2 and 3, chain 1, and remember that little space before you move over 3, popping into that space with your 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1. All right, now you are officially in that middle stitch there, so just be wary, you're counting from your 3rd stitch, which is 1, 2 and 3, slip stitch in there, yes, and we're going to do one more round of white, chaining 1 and 2, skipping 1, 2, and your 3rd one actually lands in your chain stitch, so you need to do a single crochet in that nice tight chain stitch. Turning your work. Oh dear, can't take me anywhere, huh? All right, now we are missing that. We're jumping into that space there, remember, with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Remember your chains will act as your 3rd double crochet there. Chaining 1, jumping into your next space with 3 double crochets. 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2 and 3, chaining 1, jumping straight into your next, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3, chaining 1, and now we're going down the ladder. I should say down the peak, not the ladder, down to the bottom where the valley is. I know, it's in every tutorial, sorry guys. At least once I have to be silly. 3 double crochets, chaineth 1, and popping your 3 double crochets in that space. Yes, oh dear. I did the Shakespeare chaineth 1. Sorry guys. 2, 3, and chaineth another 1. Okay, and now you are actually in that 3rd stitch, remember? So now you're counting back 3, 1, 2, and you're popping your slip stitch in that little, oh dear, tight chain right there. Yours truly, I tell you, I don't know how I do it, but I really crochet extraordinarily tightly. Can I use those words together? Okay, probably shouldn't, but anyway, never mind. Slip stitch and pull the loop through, and guess what? We are pulling up a loop because we are changing our colours. Now, I spent ages trying to work out a different colour combination for this section here. The next one is 3 blues. 3 blues, so we're going to do 3 rows of your blue. Pop your cream over there, grabbing your blue. Okay, we are working very, very hard, guys. Yes, we are. Now, this is where you are. Don't forget you need to turn your work. Remember, if you've forgotten what you've done, you're just restarting the next row where there's a thread, all right, if that helps. If you've forgotten whether you've turned it around or whatever. All right, here we go. Now we are in the chain stitch, remember? So now we're counting back 3, 1, 2, and 3. Grabbing your blue, pulling that loop through, little tail over, and away we go. Chain 1, single crochet in the same space, and I think you know the rest. However, we are going to jump into the first space between the yellow and the white, but we are going to crochet over that tail if you like. This is just a little thing I do in every tutorial. 1, 2, and 3. There are times when you can't crochet over the tail, and that's usually where there's a little single crochet there. You need to, like, we'll be able to crochet it later because we're going to crochet across this way. But if you were crocheting the single crochet around this way, you would have to weave that in at the back rather than crocheting over it. Don't forget to chain your 1 before jumping into your very next space. You know, those chain 1s in between make or break the pattern. You know that, don't you guys? You miss it and your next, well, in this section here, it's not a problem, but it will make your work bubble. Okay, if you've missed a stitch or you've added a stitch or whatever else have you. It's those last 2 rows. If you miss a chain, your whole blanket will be out of whack. All right, chaining 1 and a cluster in your next space. Let me bring that out a bit too close. All right, there we go, that's better. And try and speed it up a little bit. I don't want to put it on speed yet because we don't have a lot of clusters in this round. Maybe the next round. What do you reckon? The next round? Chain 1 and 2. Probably the next round, because then we can work on going over that thread first and then going into the next round. Actually, that's actually the second round if you think about it, the third round. By the time we're finished. All right, here we go. 3, chain 1 and a cluster set in your next. 2, 3, chain 1, cluster in your next. 2, 3, chain 1, and not forgetting that cluster between your white and your yellow. Okay, you must get in there, otherwise you're 1 cluster short. So a cluster in that white and yellow. 2, whoops, and 3. Chain 1. And okay, remember where we were? We were actually in our third, I'm sorry, we weren't in our third, we were in our chain stitch. So you're counting 1, the double crochet, 2, and the third one goes in your last double crochet with a slip stitch. Chain 1 and 2. And now you're counting, the chain is 1, your double crochet 2, and your middle double crochet is the third one. You are putting a single crochet in there, and then you're turning your work. Okay, so now we are putting 2 double crochets, oh dear, let's try that, in that next space, 1 and 2, and remembering your chain 2 counts as the third one. Chain 1, and then you know the rest of this side. So I'm going to pick up speed and I'm going to meet you back around here, maybe the cluster set before. All right, you know what I'll do? I'll even pop a little stitch marker in there, just there. So I'm going to pick up speed and I'll meet you there in a moment, all right? Alrighty, how'd you go, guys? We're almost there. 2 and 3, chain 1, and there's your stitch marker. I'll take that out. 1 in that next space. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. All right. Now, remember that space down there? We're definitely putting a cluster set in there, and remember your tail. I'm grabbing it at the back and I'm going to be crocheting over it like that. 1, 2, and 3. Once again, not necessary. chaining 1. Now you are in that stitch there. We've got another round to go, by the way. You're in that stitch there, so that is the double crochet before your chain space. So you go chain, which is 1, 2, and you are slip stitching into the middle stitch there, like that. Then you are chaining 1 and 2, and once again you are skipping 3, which is a double crochet, the chain, and your next double crochet you're putting your single crochet in there. All right, easy. Turning your work. All right, now we're going to pop a double crochet in that space right there, and your second double crochet right there, chain 1, and jumping into your very next space. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. All right, same thing. We are going to head off, and I'm not going to let you head off on your own. You can still watch me, but I will pop it in very fast motion, and you can see me go like wildfire. How's that sound? Be good if I could crochet that quickly. All right, here we go. Alrighty guys, how did you go? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Chain 1. And there's our stitch marker, take that out. Alright, here we go. So we have another space just before the end. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Alright, so here's our little thread. We're going to hold it up in our hand, and then we're going to double crochet over it. Again, this is optional, you don't need to, it's something I do. 2, 3, chain 1. All right, so remembering you are actually in your third double crochet there, so you're counting your chain as 1, 2, and you're right in the middle there with a slip stitch. Pull the loop through, yes, chain 1 and 2, counting another 3. That's your next stitch, which is 1, the chain is 2, and your first double crochet is 3, doing a single crochet in there. Okay, so now turning your work. All right, now remember what we do here. We skip that space, we jump into the next space with 2 double crochets. Okay, because your chains will act as your third one. Chaining 1, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in there. 2 and 3. All right, so chain 1, and once again we're going to do that little fast speedy motion thing. Grabbing your yellow stitch marker, popping it in the space just before your end, and yours truly is going to zoom off like a plane and I'll meet you at the stitch marker. All right, off you go. All right, how'd you go, guys? Pretty coolio. And chain 1. Nice little close up. Let's get rid of that stitch marker. Alrighty. So we are popping our 3 double crochets in your space before your last set. So there we go, chain 1. All right, now there's your last set. You're going to pop right in between the blue and the yellow. You are going to pop your 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. You have a chain 1. Now remember, here you're actually in your middle stitch right there, so you're going to count 1, the chain is 2, and your next double crochet is your 3rd one. You're going to slip stitch to join, and you're going to pull up a loop. Okay, because we once again are changing colors. Yes, we are, and we are changing to the pink. All right, remembering, guys, you need to turn your work before you add your next color. And how are we doing our next color, I hear you ask? Well, it's pretty much the same as we add all the colors. You are in your 3rd double crochet there. So you're counting your 2nd as 1, your 3rd as 2, and that chain, a nice tight chain right there, that really was a tight chain, as your 3rd one, okay? And pulling your loop through like that, passing your little tail end over, chaining 1, single crochet in that, oops, same stitch. Don't let go of your loop. Now, remember what we do here? We do our double crochets in that space, and I'm jumping right over my tail end. Double crochet 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Passing your tail. Actually, you know what? We pass the tail this way. We're already on the wrong side with this one. So, if you are doing the same color count as I am, okay, your tail ends should always end up in the back part of your work. Okay, and there you go. Chain 1, and off we trot for our very next round. And again, so you don't have to watch me, chain 1. We're going to add our yellow stitch marker right there. It's the cluster set before your ending. All right. So head off, and once again, I'm just going to pop it on speed for you, so you don't have to sit there and watch me do my clusters all the way around. Okay. I'll meet you at the stitch marker. Okay, here we go. Chain 1, and your next spot is your stitch marker. All right, so now we are popping our cluster set just before that space. 2 and 3, chain 1. All right, now remembering our space again, we're going to pop our cluster set in between the middle of the yellow and blue. Chain 1. All right, easy, easy. Now we are definitely in that stitch. You can actually see the blue in that stitch. So you're going 1, 2, and you guessed it, straight into that nice tight chain with a slip stitch. Oops, pull the loop through, chaining 1 and 2. Now you're skipping 1, 2, and you're jumping into your 3rd stitch with a single crochet. All right, so now we, yes, you guessed it, turn your work. And remember what we're doing here? We are skipping that space there, and we're jumping into your next space with your 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Chain 1. And you've got another space. 1, 2, 3. chain one, and once again we are going to add that stitch marker because, you know, it's getting a lot bigger now. It's taking too long to get there. And I'm going to just pick up speed again. And off we go. Alrighty, how'd you go, guys? Yeah, it's getting very bigger now, isn't it? It's taking longer to get around there, isn't it? Alright, so let's take that stitch marker out. And let's pop our cluster set in there. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. And of course, you have your last space in there. Again, optional. I'm popping my thread up there. And we are going to do our double crochets in that space. 1, 2, and 3. If you're not finding that's tight enough, just give that thread a bit of a tug and it closes up. All right, chaining 1. All right, so you are actually in that chain stitch right there. So you're going 1, 2, and 3 is your very last stitch. You are slip stitching in there like so. Chain 1 and 2, and now you have your chain as 1. Bring that forward. Your chain stitch here as 2, and your third one goes directly into that middle stitch with a single crochet. Turn your work, and once again you are doing, whoops, knocking everything down here, skipping that space, and you are doing your double crochets in there, both 1 and 2. Chain 1. Now you've got your 2 double crochets and your chain 2 there acts as a third one. We've chained our 1. We're going to jump into our next space right there. 1, whoops, 2, and 3, chain 1. All right, so now we are going to once again pop our little stitch marker in that second last space there. If you're wondering where I'm putting it, that's the last space we go into. That's our second last space. All right, now I'm going to pick up speed once again, and we're going to fly through our work. Alrighty, how did you go, guys? Sure does take a long time now, doesn't it? Wait till you go to the next step. Alright, let's take our stitch marker out of that space right there. Pop your 3 double crochets in there. 2 and 3, chaining 1. 3 into your last space, which is between your pink and your yellow, or whatever colour you used. whatever colours you used, I should say. 3, chain 1. All right, so there's your double crochet, your actual stitch there, I should say, is actually in that yellow, last yellow stitch there. So you're counting 1, 2, and you are slip stitching into that space like so. All right, so now you are chaining 1, 2, and 3. Now remember, if you need a stitch marker for this part here, pop it in. Okay, so turning your work. Now remember what we do here. We don't do the jumping in or anything. We are just putting 2 double crochets in that space right there. So there's your 1 and 2. Chain 1. And then you are popping your, whoops, let's try that again. 3 double crochets in that space. 1, 2, and 3, chain 1. Now you are ready for joining when you start your next side. You'll be slip stitching into that bit right there, okay? But let's not worry about that. Let's get on with this. 1, 2, and 3. All right, chaining 1. We're going to do that fast motion thing again, guys, because I'm going to use a blue now because my yellow's already in there. So I'm just going to pop the blue, the stitch marker before, space before, because this is our very final row. So I would have sent you off on your own to do it, being this big, but because it's our final row, I'm going to do it as fast as I can with the speed on the camera, and then we will sort out what we're going to do towards the end of this row. All right, so jumping into your next space and off you go. Alrighty guys, how did you go? Yeah? Chain 1. Alright, okay, so this is where you should be at. Alright. I don't know why I put it down there. We're not ready yet. We're not ready to head off on our own. We haven't finished yet. Hello, Mary, wake up. Take out your stitch marker. Pop your double crochet set in there, your cluster set of 3. Chain 1. Now, see this space here? You're going to jump in there. You're going to jump in there with a full cluster set. 1, 2, 3. And then you're done. However, you are chaining 1 and just pulling up that loop quite a bit. So, well, not a lot, but enough because you're going to use this to join to your next section. Give it a cut, pull that tail through, and let's have a look what you have here. See, mine's still rolled up like a sausage. Sorry about that, guys. Look what I've done to it. Well, I had no choice. There's no other way I could work. So there you go. That's where you are at. Oh, sorry, guys. I'll do it this way so you can see. Ta-da! That's what you should have. Now, there you go. What you should have is your 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of cream, 1, 2, 3 rows of blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of pink if you followed my colour combination. And don't stress if you didn't. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. The only thing is, make that side the same as that side, the same as that side, the same as that side, unless you are looking for a different multicolour side theme. There are so many ways you can play with your colours. This is one way. There are many different ways. What I want you to do, head off on your own and do 1, 2, 3, 4 more corners. However, yours truly wants to show everyone what I do. I wasn't going to do this, but I will. See your white there? Literally, I start my white here, which I'm going to start with you now. When I finish that white, I do that white and that white. Then I grab the blue and go 1, 2, 3 rows, 3 sets of blue. Then I grab my pink and I go 1, join, pink, 1, join, pink, 1, join. All right, if you're not sure what I mean, I'm just going to do start one section off to start you off. I'm sorry, we go this way, don't we? Start one section to start you off, and then you will know what I mean. But for the rest of you who are actually new at crochet, I would suggest doing one section at once. Always remember to start your white on your right side of your work. What's your right side, I hear you ask? The gorgeous looking side in the middle, right? You turn your middle over there, it's kind of all bubbly and it kind of looks messy, doesn't it? So we're going to start again with our corners. Remember, you can just go straight into there and assume that's the corner. You know, that one right there, assume that's corner, yeah? All right, but we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, just so we don't make any mistakes. There's your 1s, there's your 2s, there's your 3s, there's your 4s, there's your 5s, there's your 6, there's your 7, and that's your middle, right flat bang, right above that middle there, okay? So you grab your little hook and you go 1, 2, and 3. In all honesty, I don't even count anymore. I just know exactly where it's going to go when I first start, but that's because I've done these blankets like a gazillion times. So continue your counting just in case. And just start off this row, chain 1, popping a single crochet in that same space. All right, pop that at the back, jumping into your space, your very first space, and doing your double cluster set. 1, 2, chain 1 and 2, and 1, 2, and of course 3. Chain 1. Now you're skipping 1, 2, and you're jumping into your third with a chain. I'm sorry, a slip stitch. Hello. Chaining 1 and 2, and then you are skipping your chain 1, 2, and jumping into your second with a single crochet, turning your work, and you know the rest. So head off on your own, continue your side, doing exactly what you've done here. So from here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 creams. So continue your cream. You need to do 3 more now because you've done 1 already. So do your 3 creams, and then do your blues, and then do your pinks, and then meet me back here and we'll work on the join. Good luck, guys. Alrighty guys, where you should be is, let me show you. Oh, I'll have to roll up again. Alright. Nice close up. Where you should be is here. The very last space you are popping your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Whoops. Without splitting the yarn like I just did. Chaining 1. Now here we are right here. We're going to slip stitch to join, yes? So I'm going to get a little bit closer for you for this part because a lot of people are finding this part very tricky. Okay, so there's your stitch marker. Hopefully you didn't split the yarn. I didn't this time. In my previous tutorials I did. I kept splitting the yarn. All right, so you're popping, if you want to take a stitch marker out once your hook is in, it's a lot easier to work that way. And you're just pulling your loop through. Actually, I did split the yarn, can you believe it? There we go. Let's try that again. All right, pulling your loop through and pulling it through to the loop on your hook. Pull up a loop, but don't pull it, okay? This is what I've been showing you all along. Give it a good stretch across the way so that your work actually lays flat. Then lift it a little bit, give it a cut, and just pull that thread, and you're done. All right, so that is pretty much where you are at. Ta-da! All right, gorgeous. Oh, it's getting really big now. I don't know how we're going to get it in frame when we do our next section. What? So what I would like for you to do is to turn your work to your left again, grabbing your cream and starting once again. Now remember, are we on the right side? We are, but still, always good to check. All right, now remember, you could just grab your centerpiece right there and work from there, but I'm going to do it the right way for those of you who are new to crochet. All right, so you've got your corners, and then you've got your 1, your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that centerpiece right there is your middle. See your centerpiece, it's gone over the rows before. That's your middle. And you are counting 1, 2, and 3, grabbing your cream. Okay, when I can get it. Okay, grabbing your cream and starting again. Chain 1, single crochet in the same space, tail at the back again. Then we are jumping into our middle space with our 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and 2, and again 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skipping your 1, 2, jumping into your 3rd with a slip stitch, chaining 1 and 2, skip 1, 2, and jumping into your next one with your single crochet. I think you know how to do the rest, so I'm going to let you head off on your own. Finish off this side here, meet me back here, and we will slip stitch this one here to join. All right, go ahead and do that and I'll meet you back. Alrighty guys, this is side number 3 done. Well, not yet, we're about to finish it off right now. Alright, so what you have left is making sure you've chained 1. You've got to go into that space between your pink and your yellow with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you are chaining 1. And now here, remember what we're doing here? We're slip stitching to the top of that blue stitch marker. And I made that nice and loose this time, which is good. It's usually very tight, isn't it? So slip stitching into there, pulling a loop through and pulling it through. I did make it tight, but I split the stitch. How do you like that? Oh dear. So there's a slip stitch. You think I can get these sections right? Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Remember what we do? We flatten it out straight, nice and straight. Yes. Oh, I forgot to pull a loop through first. Pull that loop through and then just straighten everything out. Yeah, give it a gentle tug, making sure everything is flat. Yes. Now grab your scissors. Yes, giving that a cut, and there you go. Whoops, whoops. I'm trying to get the pink out the way. All right, so what you should have now is, dearie me. What you should have now is one side attached, 2 sides attached, and you now have your last section you need to do. Once you complete that last section, we're going to slip stitch to this section here, and then we're going to slip stitch that to that section that we're about to do now as well. So we've got 2 sides to slip stitch in a moment. In the meantime, guess what you have to do? You have to start again. I know, right? With your cream. Okay, so grabbing your sides here. Are we out enough? Yes. Grabbing your sides and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and there's your massive cluster set right in the middle there. Yes, so that is your middle. Going 1, 2, and 3. and grabbing your cream, pulling a loop through, chain 1 and single crochet as you would normally every other row, jumping straight into that center stitch there with your double cluster set. You guys are geniuses at this now, aren't you? 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets, all in the center space. Super easy. Chain 1, again skipping that first, second and jumping into that third stitch right there with a slip stitch, chaining 1 and 2, skipping the chain first and jumping into that next one, so altogether that's 3 with your single crochet. And you know what to do next. You are turning your work and starting your point or your peak like you would any other side. Now, you may have noticed one of your peaks has been weaved in. The second peak has been weaved in. Now, once you get that peak done, I want you to weave in both the ends of these peaks and then get ready to do the border rows. So head off on your own, complete that section, and I shall meet you up soon. Alrighty guys, where you should be, oh, is that out? Yes, it is. Where you should be is you should have that end still there and this one remaining, okay? Because we've just finished this last side, and what we're going to do is, if I can get it, this is where glasses come in handy, guys. Oh, I should have the glasses. Oh dear. All right, here we go. This is not right. Something's not working for me here. Hello. Let's try that again. All right, so we're chaining 1. And we are getting into that last space with our 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so chain 1. So where we should be is there. Yes. Now we are just going to, well, hopefully I didn't split that. No, I didn't. That should be good. Slip stitch into the top of your stitch marker. Oh, let's pull that stitch marker out now. There we go. And grabbing your thread, pulling it through and pulling it through to the loop on your hook, giving yourself a bit of a loop. Don't pull it through yet because we are going to, remember, flatten it out. Make sure that we've given ourselves plenty of room to play with. Okay, so you give it a cut, pull that little tag out, tail out, sorry. Now you have one more end right there. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Let me move this pink out the way. All right, so then you're just going to grab this end. Remember this end, we actually have to take it undone, don't we? So bring that up nice and close, grabbing your little, I think what we're better off doing next time is putting a stitch marker. What do you reckon? Because this just drives me batty taking it undone. I end up losing a stitch, I lose a double crochet, like I did just there. And there it is. So that last double crochet gone. Let me do that last double crochet again. Chaining 1. And again, slip stitching into that very first stitch marker we put in from the very beginning. Grabbing your loop, pulling it through, and then grabbing a tail, pulling that through. Don't pull it yet. Make sure you give yourself ample of stretch. Like that, and then pull it through, gentle tug, and guess what guys, all 4 sides are joined. I can't even fit it in the screen, guys. Look at that, I cannot even fit it in the screen. So guess what you're going to do now? What? You're going to grab whatever color you want to use next, and I'm going to use my gray to do the borders. And you are going to, you don't have to fold it in half, I do, so I just can't sit and work at the same time. Get to one of your normal corners, not your peak corners, your normal corners, right there. Any corner you like. Pop your hook in. Oh, let's get a nice close up for you. And grabbing your tail end, pulling it through, passing your little thread over, and away we go. You are chaining 1, 2 and 3, remembering to pop in your stitch marker like so. Yes, then you are popping a double crochet in there, same space, and another double crochet in the same space, chaining 1 and 2, and then you are putting in 3 double crochets all in the same space. Truly wonderful. 3, chain 1, pass that tail at the back. Oh, by the way, don't forget you're actually working on the front of your work, remember? Not that part that's messy. You're working on the nice, neat front, okay? Hopefully you've weaved in all your ends. If not, it doesn't matter. You can always weave them in after you've put the border rows on. I just find it a lot easier to do it this way. It's a lot neater and quicker. Okay, whoops, that didn't work. Let's try it again. In that first space you are putting, you guessed it, 3 double crochets. Chain 1. And 3 double crochets in your next. 3, chain 1, 3 in your next. 2, I'm going to go a little bit faster. Chain 1, 3 into your next. Too fast for you? Sorry guys. Chain 1. I just want to get to that middle section. I'm looking at it getting confused myself actually. 1 and then 3, not tree. Oh, you don't put a tree in there. You put 3. Oh, I'm tired guys. Oh, what else is new? All right, 3 into your next. 3, chain, whoops, chain 1. So it doesn't pay to rush. You make more mistakes. And 1 more, chain 1, 3 into your next. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 3 into your next. 1, 2. And 3, I'm going to have to take this one undone because I can actually see some yarn split. Look at that, right there, right there. So it happens. Just give me 1 moment. I'll just do this off air and I'll be back in a second. So I thought I was being really careful not to split that yarn and I split it. All right, so now from there we are just jumping. Remember what we do here? We go over the pink and the yellow. So we're going over all of it together. Like so. 1 and 2 and 3. Making sure you chained before you started and chain when you finish. Jump straight into your next space with a 1, 2 and 3 double crochets, chain 1 and so on. Chain 1. All right, what I would like for you to do, okay, this is where you are at. Let me hide those tails so it looks like they're not there. I'm so naughty. All right, what I would like for you to do, and it just saves you from watching, is see my little yellow stitch marker. I'm going to pop it on the very first side, right up towards the stitch, just the cluster set just before the stitch. All right. So what I would like for you to do, to save you from watching me do it, head off on your own and get to that section there and meet me up. Alrighty guys, here we go. We're at the stitch marker, just turning everything around. I'll roll everything up. Alright, now take out your stitch marker because you don't need it there anymore. Let's get a nice close up for you. Okay, now we haven't done that cluster set before, making sure you've got your chain. We haven't done the cluster set before the stitch, so do that cluster set first, chaining 1. All right, so now we are crocheting over both the yellow and the pink, yarn over, pop your hook in, pull up your loop, and do your normal double crochet over there, do your second double crochet over it, and do your third. Chaining 1, jumping into your very next space, which is right over there. 1, 2, 3. Chaining 1, next space. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, just pull up that loop for a minute. Alright, just giving your work a nice stretch. Yes? Perfect. Now grabbing your stitch marker, you're going to do this again because it's a lot easier than watching me do it. It'll take forever. Just go to your very next spot and just in that space before your stitch, pop your yellow stitch marker. Go ahead, finish off that side and I shall meet you there. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this section too. Let me get a nice close-up for you. We'll take out that stitch marker, you don't need that one there anymore. Alright, you're doing your normal cluster set in there, making sure you've chained your 1. So 2 and 3. Chain 1. And there is your pink again and your yellow. We're going over both and that's all thicknesses, remember? Like so. Right around the whole thing. 1, 2, whoops, that didn't work. Let me try that again. Okay, 2 and 3. Chain 1. And jumping straight over into your very next space with your 1, 2 and 3. Chaining 1 and again in your next. It's a super easy section now, I think. I like to call this the home stretch. We have one more section to do. Chain 1. I love to call this the home stretch. Okay. Oh, did I bring it out? Oh, I did. Okay. Grabbing your yellow stitch marker, placing it in your very last section. I think this is the last section. Yes, it is. Oh, well, I've just made a little boo-boo there. Just put it straight through. Like I said last time, it's not a very good stitch marker. Look, I've gone through the stitch. Doesn't matter. As long as you get yourself to that stitch marker right there, and I will meet you up in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this section as well. So we're flying through this, aren't we? Certainly are. Alright, so I think I've put a stitch marker in a little bit too early. I've got a couple of more sets to go before I get to that middle section. And chaining 1, jumping into your next space. And chaining 1. Alright, and so here we are, right here where our little pink tail is, and our yellow, we are going to yarn over our hook and just place it in the space, going over all thicknesses once again with the 1, 2, and you guessed it, 3, chain 1. Alright, so we have almost finished another section of our blanket. Alright, we've still got, plenty more to go. Sorry guys, it's not the end of it. I'd like to say it is, but we got a few more sections to go, I think. At least one more section to make the smaller size blanket. I know, right? We're already up to that stage. Can you believe it? What? Yes, we are. Alright, so what you're doing is exactly what I'm doing now, is doing our cluster sets all the way across. Continue doing your cluster sets until you get to that little blue stitch mark, which is coming up. So I'm going to stay here and just keep going. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1. 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 Couple of cluster sets left. 1, 2, and 3. I underestimated. A few cluster sets left. Oh, what do you do, huh? 1, 2, and 3. And chaining 1. Are you sick of chaining 1, guys? Are you forgetting to? Don't forget. Last cluster set before the corner. 2, and whoops, 3. Chain 1. All right, so there's our little stitch marker right there. Yours truly would like for you to pop your hook in that space where the stitch marker is in. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? Okay. Oh, just doesn't want to leave my side, does it, the stitch mark? Oh dear. Okay, so we're going to pull a loop through there, pull it through to the loop on your hook. All right, so what you now initially have is the end of this row, but we need to do what we've done very earlier in the pattern where we slip stitch over to get into that center. So you're slip stitching into the very first stitch you come to, like so, and 1 in the next one. Whoops. Like so, don't split the yarn like I just did, and then 1 into your space like so, giving it a nice tug, chaining up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and you guessed it, you're going to pop that stitch marker in the stitch right there. I made that a bit loose, didn't I? And popping in your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 because you are in the corner, and you're doing another 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, jumping into your next space with your 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, and into your next with your 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 1. All right, what we're going to do now is super duper easy. Guess what? You've done this before anyway. You are going to head off on your own, and you're going to meet me back here in maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on how long it takes you to do this. You are going to put a cluster, chain 1 in every space you come to. Every space you come to, you know, jumping around, making sure you get into the space before and the space after of that cluster set, all the way around, get all the way around to our stitch marker, and I will meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I have one last cluster set to pop in, making sure you're chaining before you continue. Always chain 1, chain 1. And then pop your hook in your stitch marker, pull that stitch marker out. Get excited guys, we're pulling a loop through there, pulling a loop through there. We are chaining 1 with a big loop. Well, you don't have to do big loops. I do big loops on the last one because just in case I make an error, I can always go back and fix it, okay? That's just me, I'm very pedantic like that, I know. What do you do? All right, a little bit all squashed up because I've been squishing it up to fit it in on the table, and as you can see we cannot fit it in on the table anymore. But there you go guys, you need to flip it over, weave in all these ends like we did in part 3 of our blanket. But there you go guys, it is done. We have finished part 4. What? Don't forget to join me on Wednesdays live and Saturdays live. Now Wednesdays live is at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Melbourne, Australia time, and Saturdays live is 10 a.m. On a Saturday morning, Melbourne, Australia time again. So we will get together and we will discuss our very next step to your Kaleidoscope blanket. We will also discuss a few other things that's going to be happening with the blanket over the next few tutorials. What? Yes, I know, because it's growing now. It's getting to the stage where possibly the very next section, it will be, I think it is, the very next section we do will be at the smaller size of the blanket, okay? But we'll talk about that in our live coming up this Wednesday and this Saturday. And we can also talk about it on the actual part 5 of the tutorial. So if you missed a live, don't stress. I will be discussing it on part 5 of the tutorial, which will happen on Monday coming. Yay! Get ready. Get excited. It's all happening. We are very close to our very next step, guys. So I will see you on Monday coming for our 5th part. I was going to say 5 part for our 5th part of the tutorial. Don't forget, guys, this Friday the 16th of October, Melbourne, Australia time, I will be putting out a video for the giveaway. Yay! Very excited for our 8,000 subscriber giveaway, and I thank you so much everyone for subscribing and for all that you do for the channel. I truly appreciate it. So in that, I will be doing that video on Friday, and you will be getting a giveaway. Yay! Very exciting. So don't forget to join me on Friday for that. Now with that one there, I will give you ample time for you to answer the question. You need to watch the whole video. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all those wonderful things you do for me. And all I can say right now, guys, is ciao for now.